One of the things about this saw is that you can do this. So we'll take this out. Here's it being so difficult to take out. What was that was caught? Unplug that from in there. And now we can put this underneath. There's two knobs. Oh, no, that's these. We'll put them into. You have to put this. I always struggle with this. Right, so that goes like that. And now, these. Right. Yes, swap it out. You see there's that hole there. They have to be on this end. Right. Okay. So we now have to
lower?
Yeah, lower this.
By loosening the nut?
Yeah.
Wait. I can get this one done.
Hang on. And I need to measure it from.
There we go.
I've got a very rough 100 drawn. This used to actually have tape there.
Yeah, I remember.
But that
died.
All right. And actually, let's just take this off. And then you turn the bottom. When it's loose, you turn the bottom. No, you don't have to undo it all the way. You just the nuts are.
They are shaped to go through the holes.
Yes. So we don't need to undo it all. Right.
How was I supposed to know that?
Yeah, good question. And
Let me put that one up.
These do. So now
that can go through the hole and we can cut through it.
So what we do is, we can do it from either end.
Maybe not. Oh yeah, okay. I was like, maybe not use that end.
If you were to do with a mortise, with a tenon I should say, we mark really roughly here. So we're going to go all the way through.
Yeah, I want to go all the way through.
So for those, I was explaining to Melissa that we can have it so that the mortise is not right the way through the timber, and you can hide the end, or you can have it so you put the mortise all the way through, and you can actually expose the end of the tenon. And Melissa likes the idea of exposing the end of the tenon.
I want to see my work.
So, well, maybe you won't when you see your work.
No, I do.
So, if you were to do it the traditional woodworking way, as the old did, then there's a tenon saw, you could like a crosscut saw, that they're very stiff.
Right, yes.
And so I do have hand saws, but I don't have anything that's really a proper woodworking tool. You'd clamp this, you see all these guys with their proper woodworking benches, and this whole thing gets just clamped into position. You don't need a G-clamp, they've got a wind on their benches, they have these pins that move.
I've seen things like that, yeah.
So that clamps, and then you just cut across here, and you've marked out so that it comes down and like this. You've decided what your thickness
shape's going to be.
And the sort of recommendation is a third.
That makes sense.
So about 30, 30, 30, and it gives you a strong joint. If you don't give much of a bit here, if you go very wide tenon, then what it means is that on the mortise you don't have much material on the outside if it's the same width.
Right.
If you've got a very big beam,
yeah,
and you're putting a tenon into it, like effectively those end boards, then you could make it so that they were a fair bit. Well, if the board's a lot wider.
If you're doing something like using tenon joints to build a house, your
boards
are going to be a lot bigger.
The most important thing though is that if you've got a narrow bit here and you're putting it into a wide bit of board here,
yeah,
then you could have it so that this whole thing goes in like the slats, and so it's full width, and you've still got plenty of material on the sides. But we're going to be putting this into something that is a similar
size,
width. I mean, we're putting it into these.
Yeah.
Right. So there is a difference, but so we could go. We could go wide. Hold on to that. Oh, actually, we're going to put it this way. Yeah, this way.
Yeah.
Right. So there's an extra bit of width. So if we made it a wider tenon here, if we made it a third to the size of this,
yeah,
as opposed to the size of this, then you're still going to have a good support on either side. But if you're putting this into something the same width,
like how this one is the same width as this one, but this one is thinner than this.
If you put that into there,
so if we were using this one for example,
yes,
because that one's thicker.
Yeah. If we were putting a mortise into that, if you went really wide here on the tongue, you have very little to break out on the sides.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it depends on the circumstance, but a rule of thumb, if you're doing like to like, and we'll have to look at that because that's, well,
that came off that piece.
Yeah, okay. But
that's where that off cut came from.
Oh yeah, we didn't even, no, these ones weren't planned either. No. We decided we didn't need to. Okay, so, well, thickness. But we're going to put that into there. But I think that, in this case, this one here, we have to decide which is the top. So this bit here is 72, and this piece here is 75. So we'd probably do it so that the 75 is the top. So we're giving the biggest profile goes this way, because I mean it doesn't matter in this case.
I mean we are also going to be mortising, is that the right term?
Yeah, mortising,
yeah, the slats, so we want to have the space for them too, don't we?
Yeah, but we've got plenty of, they're only 19 mil.
Still.
So if this is 70, then that's less than the 30, well, it's less than 60, 3 times 20 is 60, and this is 70. So if you do third, it's still narrower than that. But what we've got, but I'm just saying, if we put the biggest dimension of this vertically, it gives us the most strength.
Yes. Now,
if this was a 25 by 50 or something like that, then obviously we don't want to be the wide across.
Yeah.
This is almost square, so we're just mucking about. But in this case, I'm still going to work on the principle that we have the thickest profile vertically for the maximum strength.
Yeah.
And the narrow.
Because it doesn't apply so much to that one, but the other ones are thinner.
Yeah.
So
there's only 3 mil in it, but we'll do it that way anyway.
But no, I was meaning when we get to this one, that matters.
Yes, you can see that.
So it's better to have it the same way for all of them.
Yeah. But it's just our principle. All right, so what we want to do now is, that means if we go third, we've got 72. What's a third of 72?
use a calculator for this.
No, well, what's a third of 60?
30.
Third
No.
of 60?
20.
Correct. And then you got 12 more. So what's a third of 12?
4.
So 24. Right?
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense.
It's not the world's most complicated in mathematics.
Yes, but I'm very deliberately not a maths teacher.
Hmm.
And when I do have to teach maths, I have this handy dandy thing called a calculator to help me.
But it's good to have a sense of what approximately it is, because it's easy to hit the wrong button on a calculator or do the wrong thing, as we were seeing when we were calculating pumpkin.
We didn't calculate the pumpkin. You did it manually. You did it.
Yeah, I know, volumetric, but
No. You did it. You didn't let me use a calculator for the pumpkin.
No. That's right. Anyway.
I would just confused everyone.
If I put this in. So, we want to mark this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to lay this over like that.
Okay.
And we're going to set this so that 24, all right. We're going to set this like that, and we're going to set the height of that saw using, there's a height adjustment on here.
Yeah.
So you can loosen this and you can raise and lower that.
Mm-hmm.
So we set it so this saw is at the height that we need to cut out this, and then we put this in here, and we've got a line drawn over there, and we cut a line along across here, and that's our primary. That's where it finishes.
Mm-hmm.
But then we can just keep
doing the thing where you move it across and do the thing.
Just move it across and do the thing. So we just we hold that and we go across. Ooh, okay, so we need to drop that further. But we do that, and we do it multiple times, so we move the board across.
Yes.
And then we've got a series, and then we just get our chisel
and just go
and just break it out.
Yeah. Okay.
This is not a mortising chisel. Mortising chisels are very thick, and they've got a very strong angle because you're removing a lot of wood. This is just a standard beveled chisel. You can get firming chisels and whatever. There's different, and they've got different amounts of angle on the sides and different angles on the front.
Yeah.
For different jobs. But that bed that I made, at the time I had no money and I didn't even know about different types of chisels. And I went and bought a set of chisels. I got 19 mil, and I've got this is my widest one. So that is 32. Okay, what's the next one down? Actually, there's 24. What's written on it? It looks like it's 24. I don't think it's an inch. An inch is 25.4. Yeah. No, it's a little under an inch. But it's about 25.3, so it's obviously nominally an inch. It's probably written on here somewhere. I will resharpen this before we dive in. With the mortars and chisels too, the shank often goes right up, but it's also got on the handle, you got a ring around the top, so when you're hitting it, and you've got to hit it fairly hard, there's a ring of steel that's put over the handle, so when you hit it, it doesn't split.
Yeah.
But if we were doing some serious hardwood,
like Granddad's,
like Granddad's timber, we'd probably bust this. But this is Oregon, and Oregon's very much a lot softer. And I did pine. Now you see the head of that is starting to mushroom a little.
Yep.
But it's not that bad. And I might even put that on the belt sander and just tidy that up. So I looked into mortise and chisels, and it was not going to be easy to get them. And this is a one-off job. And in all honesty, I use these chisels, but in the work that I do, I'm not making mortises every day. If I was making furniture all the time, I'd be worth investing. Although, if I was making furniture all the time, I was trying to sell it, I wouldn't use a chisel to mortise it.
No.
If you're trying to win a competition for best handmade thing with
you're putting into the Royals to show or something.
Then yes, but
if you're selling it, then...
but if you're selling it, then what you do is you use a router.
Yep.
You make a mortising jig, and then you just route them
because it's more time efficient.
And you're not even you want the joint to be hidden. So you don't go right through, and you don't even dowel it. There's ways of, well, maybe you dowel it, but anyway, you want to hide it.
Yeah.
But you really, if you make them really good and they're really tight, you then glue them, and they're a very strong joint. They use them in chairs and things like that. But you'd be with that. You don't even have a square edge. You mortise with a router, and you put the hole in, and then you make your tenons on the end with a router, and you make it so they've got radiuses, or you do it like this, and then you radius them so you don't have square edges, and it just slides in, and you just leave it, because when you use a router, you've got a round bit, and it leaves a radius in each corner. And so if you're using 10mm radius, a 10mm router bit, you've got a 5mm radius in each corner. So you just put a 5mm radius at least on each corner, and then you can slide the whole thing in, and you get the strength of the joint.
Yeah.
But you don't get the... with what we're doing is we're playing a bit of a game, and it's partly about how it looks.
It's mostly about how it looks.
It's mostly about how it looks. Now, a lot of the if you want to be able to pull things apart, and this is if you go to your medieval, and it was made traditionally, you'd have the mortise coming out so that overhangs by...
And then you'd have a peg. Yeah,
and
I've seen stuff
drive in
like
the
that.
wedge.
Yeah.
So
I've seen chairs and stuff done like that.
So because we're going to use a chisel for our... If you're going to use a router, you can just nominally pick what size you want and set your router up with a router jig so that it routes out exactly what you want. And you can use a 10mm, 12mm router or something, and you come in and you plunge it down, but you go around inside, and it's got stops. So as you're going along, the router gets stopped as you go around, and then you can go across in the middle, so you just, and now you end up with a very precise, because you're using your router, it's very precise. And then you do the same thing with making your tenon, and you make it a really neat knock-in fit, and then you glue it, and then it's a very strong joint because it's glued all the way around. And they use them on the back of chairs because people rock back on them, and it's a very stressful joint. So we're now with the tools I've got available. I've got a 19mm or 3/4, and 3/4 of an inch is 19.05mm, so 0.05. It's near enough the same.
Yep.
You can actually swap spanners between 19 and 3/4, and it works near enough. You can swap sockets. And sometimes you'll deliberately on a 3/4 you'll use a 19 if it's a little bit undersized, just to get that. It's only 0.04, but you just get a slightly smaller socket. So this is now decided that our tenon is going to be
that size.
That size, I think, because it's roughly a third of that board. And so we have to, before we actually make decisions, we have to look at the tools we've got available.
Yes.
So, Yeah, if we were to do this the traditional way that would be taught in, I'll take some video of the books I've got.
Like the way that it's actually taught in.
Before they had electric tools, how did they do this? So, you like I said, you'd get a yeah, they're quite a thick blade. They're a solid blade, and they're a crosscut saw. So a ripping saw is designed to rip along the grain.
Yeah.
And the crosscut saw is designed to go across the blade.
That makes sense.
So it's a crosscut, and you then, carefully set it up. You cut it in, and you just saw really neatly. And then, I guess I've never watched anyone that really knows what they're doing, but you could then come in from the end and get rid of a lot of the material, or you could make a number of saw cuts to the right depth and then knock it out. And I think that's probably more likely to be the way, because what you don't want to do is when you start doing this to get the tenon out,
I've watched
it tears.
Yeah, I've watched a few woodworkers, and that seems to be the way they do it.
Yeah, because if you have it so that you leave 2 mil and then you try to go in there, it gets into the grain, and the grain tears
it peels
out.
up.
Whereas if you just do a series of little cuts close together, then it's going to knock out, and it's going to be pretty. Right, so let's drop this down another 10 to my beautifully calibrated texture marks. Might probably be good if I bought some 6-inch rules.
I'm going to let you come around and do this side too.
Actually, it'd be better if I got 2 cheap, because that's 190. So I've got 2 300mm rules and somehow attach them.
I will let you
so
find the right spot.
110. I mean, this is not over the length of this. Drop it down. Okay. Maybe I'll put this stuff in, and I'll put chapters in so people can skip. Because in a way, I think I've written 90, 110, 100. 90, 100, 110. Alright. So now, can we get that over the top? Yes, we can. So, I want to mark this out. So we definitely, that's the narrow. You can actually almost see it. But that is 72, so that's the narrower. And we want the tenon out that way. So.
It's also the side you drew the lines on.
I've got a much better square than this. So we want to come down, and if we were making it for that one, did we say it was 92?
Yeah.
No, 90.
89.
So it'd be going through, let's say it was going through this one. If we make it a little longer, we could trim it off, but that's 89.5. But let's see if we can make it. And we might end up cutting this in half, or if we've got another rough cut, which we probably do.
Probably somewhere.
We will actually do a practice.
Like here.
Can you grab that?
Just a little one, but...
but it's not the size of that. But we'll have a look at what we've got. We've got the more stuff underneath the house.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll be able to find something.
We want 89 and a half. And I'm going to go and find my better 6-inch rule. And the stuff that's going to go is that, and we're going to leave this. And it's a good idea to just do something. Not that we're going to forget.
But just so that you're like, this is the part that's going to go.
Oh, it's very close.
I mean, it's through all the way.
Yeah, but is it the same depth? I think there's a little washout. We just need to get it far enough back that it'll cut it right out.
Oh.
Alright. 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 So that, and maybe we flip this over and we put that cut we need another,
Yeah, go out into the sun.
we need to drop it by 14 millimeters. Yeah, you can see if you had a proper table, this thing, like I say, it's like a Leatherman, you know. It does a whole pile of things, none of them brilliantly.
It still does them.
You wouldn't want to be trying to make money off one of these.
No.
Righto? Alright. I reckon we've got another 3 mil. If you look at that.
Yeah.
No, oh, yeah. It's not. It's relative. There's a gap between here and there. Normally, if you're just pushing a saw across,
Yes.
that there is on the top of that.
Yeah.
So you can just measure that, but we're not.
Yeah.
Now, I think I can get a better bit of wood than that, because that's fairly thin. We can have, this is an offcut from making the bed.
From Richard's bed or your bed?
No, my bed. Yeah, see, that's a little easier. All right.
That's pretty well in line. Not quite 100%, but that's basically in the line. I think that's good enough.
So we'll call that done. All right, so now we just oh yes. Yeah, it's full.
I was like, last time this happened, it was because it was full.
Yeah, all right, so you're right. All right. This big knot in the middle of it. Now I've got something here that I've never used. I think this was Nick's, but he swears it wasn't. I can't see where else it came from. But I've offered it and been taken, so I'm doing a job that looks like it might be useful to have.
Might as well use it.
Now we don't want to get underneath things. Yeah, there's one bit that went, it was obviously it's not sitting straight. But if this were a mortise, you'd never see that.
Will do for today.
And that from the other side. Well, now we've got to do 8 of these, and then we've got to do 8 miters to match. That's pretty wide. 25. Yeah, that's good. That's a little over there. I think that that's, if I take that flat, we'll clean up. This is actually a little woodworking table, and you can tell in part because it's got these holes, and you can get clamps that you just knock in there and then just knock them down and they lock. I think it's here, right?
Yeah.
Now you get a file and file that to beef on it. Go through there and put your foot on it from the other side. Alright, there. That's 24. Yeah, that's really, that's going to be very neat. And again, since we're doweling it, we've got a little bit of tolerance.
Yeah.
So, for those at home, I've got a little cut across here, but of course that's not going to be seen. But there's our mortise, our tenon.
I'm going to assume this is going to get deleted, so I'm going to just kind of chat because boredom. Yeah, pumpkin soup explanation. I'm catering for an event on the first night, and I'm doing one of the two soups, but I've never done that before. So I expected. I was like, Mum's fed lots of people. You know, she's had to cater for large events. She's done weddings. She's done dinners at you know, and lunches at church events. Surely she knows how to work out your quantity. Do you have enough for 50 people? The answer was apparently no. I should have asked Dad. Because Mum's going, well, no, I'm looking at that. That's probably 10 people. I'm going, that's more soup than you make for church on a soup Sunday. That's way more soup. I was like, you know, I have 6-liter bags. They're gonna fill like 2 of them. I just want to know serving sizes. No, 2. And Dad's going, 200 mils probably about your serving size. Not going, too small. So yeah, it ended up being a whole thing. And Dad was trying to make me work out volume of the containers that I had. And I was like, they're about this size. I'm bad at volume maths. Yeah. Can I teach maths? Yeah. If I've got some time to wrap my head around it for certain things. But I haven't had to use volume in a while. Oh, there he is. Door.
It mustn't be. It's not in my drawer.
He is lost. The thing. So now he's hunting next door. I'm assuming, Dad, that you're going to delete all this. It's up to you, but I'm assuming so. This isn't really relevant.